Chris Staddy.
Here.
Greg Rosenblatt.
Here.
Sarah Stevens Morley.
Here.
Chuck Neff. Here. Dennis Ryu.
Here.
Megan Rockwell.
Here.
Rich Gussenberg. Sean Kimball.
That's so.
Okay, we have a quorum. Mr. Rise, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Sarah, no public comments, but any correspondence?
No, I've received no correspondence since last week.
Okay. Motion to approve the meeting minutes from May 9th.
I'll move.
Okay, second? Okay, second, yep. Any comments, any changes? I abstain. Abstain, I think we have 3 abstentions, okay. All in favor of accepting the meeting minutes as written, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, I think we had enough to get them through. Chairman's report, I'll read what Rich sent, which is his council reports from May 14th. So they're completing construction documents, on schedule to begin construction in December for North End School, in January for Norton School. State of Connecticut approvals, summer work, waiting for approval from the state before we can send out phase 1 bids, and I guess we'll discuss that in more detail when we get to the architect's report or building report. April 30th community meeting, very positive meeting with about 50 people in attendance, split about evenly between those interested in Norton and those interested in North End. Reviewed plans for the summer and went over the schedule and construction plans to begin in December. Questions were raised, including inquiries about the amount of tree cutting at Norton, water runoff plans, and use of the entrance from Sharon Drive. Energy incentives, we received letters from Eversource commending us on our energy efficient design and officially stating we are eligible for energy rebates. These monies will come back to the town after the systems are up and running and are evaluated by Eversource. Photovoltaic calculations, we have received calculations from engineers on the potential roof space for installing PV. At Norton School, there's room for 1,159 panels needed, which would offset 100% of the electrical needs, making the school net zero. At the North End School, there's room for 1,063 of 1,343 panels needed. This is calculated to provide 79% of energy needs, can be supplemented with 280 required panels on ground or carport to bring it up to 100%. I note the PV was not included in the ed specs or budget for the schools. If there's a surplus at the end of the project, this committee may be able to look at purchasing. If not, the town may purchase, possibly from Eversource or inflation reduction rebates, or the town may choose to look at alternative installations. And then Rich ends with, once again, the council chair asks the NGSBC chair to convey the council's thanks for the tremendous effort of the NGSBC members. Okay, that concludes this. You can have that copy. Yeah. Okay, action on submitted invoices. I think we have a single invoice.
We have a single invoice, yes, and it's for summer drilling, and just like for the Norton School, the North End School had additional casings, and I think that the committee did a motion to accept that change, and then they accepted the invoice.
Motion to approve the invoice from Simon Drilling. Okay, Dennis, you made a motion, any second? Okay, second, Sarah, any comments, any questions? Okay, all in favor of accepting the Simon Drilling invoice? Aye. Opposed? Okay, unanimous. And that's a single one, right?
That's it.
That's it, okay, good. Finance Subcommittee, so it's Dennis and Chris, is that you guys are?
I'm Chuck.
Chuck,
And-
Chuck, okay, yes. You two guys are, no, two of you guys are, yeah.
I didn't even
I
notice.
went out to-
Let Chris handle it.
Okay, it just says, well, it says if any, so action, recommendation on change orders, you guys got anything
I
for
don't
I
this
don't think
night?
there was any, but I would, we need to not call it a subcommittee, because we're not having extra meetings. It's just a group,
What do you mean?
finance group,
Oh,
whatever you
okay.
wanna call it. Just make that note in all the agendas and minutes, because
Right.
we're not a subcommittee.
Okay, I'll communicate that to Rich as well, which is very new but forgot on his rush to get off to Thailand. Okay, owner's rep and CM at risk, scheduling update.
Okay, so what I have to report is that we're still not out to bid for phase one. I won't get into it now. We'll address it later with the architect's update. It's imminent. The letters are imminent. That's all I can say. We're getting really close. It's coming up to a holiday weekend, so I don't know what we're gonna get out of the state on a Friday before a holiday weekend, but maybe. We've rescheduled the pre-bid walkthrough for both sites. Right now, they're scheduled for next Thursday, which is the 30th. And we're gonna meet at North End first, I think it was 2:30, and then roll over to, Norton at 3:45. So that was the idea, next Thursday afternoon. If we go out to bid by noon tomorrow, that's enough time for the bidders to try to get enough participation for Thursday. If I can't get out to bid before noon, what I will do is we'll go out to bid whenever we get the letters, and I'll push the pre-bid walkthrough to June 12th, which is the last day of school. It's the official last day of school. I would have done the 11th, but I guess promotion happened, so they don't want anybody at school for that, so it'll be the last day of school. And I would have the bids due the 20th of June. So last time I was here, I reported that the 13th is when we would be ready to make a recommendation for the trade contractors. Based on the timeline I just gave you, we would now be on your 27th meeting to get the trade contractors approved. It pushes everything down 2 weeks. I'm still holding the end date, somehow I keep absorbing this in my schedule. So now I have an on-site start date for both schools, July 23rd. Of course, North End is not as critical per se than it is at Norton, but I was able to rework some of the activities and durations. To still be done with Norton, I have a physical construction of Norton being done on August, it's the Friday, the week before you guys start school again. So I have Norton being wrapped up by August 16th. So you should have a full week before you guys come back. That's what the current schedule is based on bids going out, you guys approving on June 27th. We're saying we can get the fiber mulch in by August 16th. And just so everybody knows, that culvert that's gotta go in, I anticipate it's gonna be a very long time to get it. Has to be engineered, has to be made, shop drawings gotta be reviewed. It's gonna take a long process just to get it on site, so I'm anticipating that culvert not happen until September or October, but it's way in the back of the school, so it really shouldn't affect any of the school activities. And I think that's it for schedule.
Any questions on schedule? Okay, thank you. Open item, log items?
So we, no changes from the last time, although this is a shorter version, because we did roll up all the closed items. We do have one item that has a deadline date of tomorrow, actually. It has to do with the bridge area and how we're gonna articulate the structure on that. We talked to Tecton, Justin and Jeff are actually reviewing it on both the schools. So, hopefully we can get that closed up for the next meeting. And then a lot of the other pending items are items that have to do with electrical or mechanical. Kohler Ronan is going through their CDs, and we're gonna follow up with them in the next couple of weeks to make sure that things are getting wrapped up. And, if it's something that they're actually addressing, or they're not addressing, we can report on that.
Okay, any questions on the open items, tracking log?
So it looks like on the backside, the top, I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look like they've been answered. So I don't know if you
They-
wanna close those or you want us to leave it.
Well, they were answered, Chris, but I think that, you know, we wanted to verify that they're in the construction
Just
document.
gonna leave them here so that we can verify, then we'll pull them off. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's kind of almost like pending verification at this point, just in my head. Thank
Yeah.
you. I like that.
Okay.
I know we talked about that.
Contract amendments, I guess the material testing
Yes,
contract?
right, so we don't have anything to present tonight, but, the materials testing RFP is out on the street. We put it out on May 15th. We have a due date of June 7th. The town attorney advised us that it really didn't suit a invitation to bid, so it's gonna be a qualifications and then a proposal. We've got 2 line items. One line item is a lump sum for special inspections, and the other one is I'm calling it a lump sum for the testing services, but that's based on a series of amount of tests that we're kind of projecting. So we can then compare, you know, apples to apples with all of the testing agencies.
This is for phase one?
We're doing it for all phases, Dennis.
Okay.
So once, and that's why we kind of, you know, we kind of expanded it. We could have done it for phase 1, but then we would have had to go on back out again. So what we want to do is engage services of a firm and just keep them on for the duration. So, getting back to the fact that it's an RFQ versus an ITB, there is a shortlist process. I'm going to receive the bids here on June 7th, and then bids and qualifications. If you want to select a group, committee, not a subcommittee, to review those, then when we come to the building committee meeting on the 13th, hopefully we can act on that. Then we can get the contracts to the town council. We can get them engaged, and then by early July we should have them on board.
So you can just forward them electronically.
Yeah, I'm getting electronic versions of everything. So now the way the town attorney explains it, I can't distribute the bid part of it, the cost proposal, but I can get you the qualifications.
So should we name 3 people as a working group to review it when they come in on June 7th, or volunteers?
Sure.
Chuck, okay.
I would be happy to, but on the 13th, the only way I can join is via Zoom, so I don't know if that's a good
Meeting.
join the meeting via Zoom.
Last time what we did is the 3 of us reviewed them. We talked quickly on a Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
Kind of came up with a recommendation, and we just delivered it at the meeting. So
So,
if you can meet the Wednesday before, just for 20 minutes, then we should.
yeah, all right, I'm in.
Okay, great.
Sounds
Sarah,
good.
Chuck, Dennis, the working group on the bids. So I guess that wraps up contract amendments. Justin, it's yours.
Okay,
Architects update.
Thank you. Fairly limited update this evening. In your packet, we've included 2 things that are somewhat thresholds in terms of getting part of our Phase 1 approval. One is the listed species survey. If you recall, the DPED asked us to conduct surveys for a wood turtle, eastern box turtle, and eastern ribbon snake. So the long and the short of it is none of the listed species were observed based on a number of walks on the site during the mating season of these reptiles. However, because the habitat is such that we would expect to find the species, the recommendation is to provide an area that would serve as a potential breeding ground for turtles, consisting of a 40-foot wide by 80 foot long by 2 feet deep sandbar in a portion of the site.
See 40 by 80?
40 by 80 by 2 feet deep.
That's a lot of sand.
It's a lot of sand.
If we counted the neighborhood, it's
I'm gonna bring my Vokey wedges out. And I'm gonna start trying to hit out of. Yes.
Cats.
So, I asked. As I was describing to Dennis before the meeting started. I pushed back a little bit on the report, and the recommendation, and basically what I was told is we would expect to find these here, and if we simply went back to the state with a finding of no habitat or no species, they would likely request additional survey, additional investigation, and a more in-depth survey. But if we provide this recommendation, it's a pretty benign recommendation, frankly, but if we provide that, that should satisfy the review. So that's into the state right now, and it's already encumbered into the site plans for this area. And, okay, so that's item number one. Assuming that satisfies the folks at the state, then we should be able to get our general permit, our general stormwater permit. We also received the soil management plan for the north end, and it's basically just specifications and description on how to handle the soil that we're going to be moving around on site. And that was a specific request from the State Office of Grants Administration because it was a recommendation as part of the Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental site assessment. This has been provided by your consultant. It's now part of the specifications for implementation. So with respect to the early procurement and site enabling PCR, this has been a very long process. We had a late afternoon meeting with our plan reviewer at the state. I think we finally got to a point where everything was out of our hands, or the perception was that it was out of the owner and design team's hands, and is now ready for approval by the state. So some of the things that went into this was there's a different attitude about issuing a conditional approval at the state with state leadership, whatever that term means. The leadership in the Office of Grants Administration are more stringent in terms of when they issue a letter or an approval to bid, they are frowning on more conditional items. So some of our conditional items are this listed species survey, the soil management plan, both of which we've addressed, the final legal combination of the additional sites on both North End and Norton. It's been both have been administratively approved by town planning, but they haven't been recorded yet. So we're waiting on that to be, the fact that the approval happened administratively was enough to kind of get us over the hump there. So when we got off our call, we were optimistic, as Laura mentioned, that our plan reviewer who is off tomorrow, was hoping to wrap up her end of the approval to get to the powers that be that need to sign the letter. So as Laurel mentioned, Friday before a long weekend is often a hard time to get anything done. So I'll be surprised if we get it tomorrow, but it sounded like it's imminent. And I know we said it was imminent the last meeting that we had. Other than that, we're continuing to hold our coordination meetings, and we'll be scheduling. I should be getting the playscape, updated playscape design drawings in to schedule this meeting as well, as we have a backlog of some facilities meetings that we need to get on the books. So once this early procurement site enabling lands, we should be able to move full force there. So Laurel, Mark, and Rich have been living this frustration, and Jeff and Vin, because they asked some questions to you last week, and we provided
Well,
the
the last
answers.
several weeks.
Yes. Not ne-
In triplicate.
not necessarily pertinent to the phase one that we're doing, but request for us to complete the items nonetheless, so.
Questions for Justin?
Do we wanna talk about the utility pole on Sharon or no? Do we know we gotta mess with it? Should we let the building?
We're gonna be moving the guy wire
Just to let them
and
know.
the communication, so there's no, I
So
didn't
it's not a
wanna speak
surprise?
about it until we have a little bit more information.
That's Norton, right?
What's that?
That's Norton?
That's
Yes.
Norton. So in our right of way, as part of the neighborhood engagement that we had a few weeks ago, there was a lot of discussion about our access road that goes out to Sharon Drive. In order to keep that access drive dead center in our right of way, and it's a right of way, it's not part of our property. That was another question that came up through the state. It's actually, there's no parcel in the town that describes that little access from the back of the Norton site out to Sharon Drive, so it's gotta be a paper street. If you guys know that term, it's just a street on paper. There's no pavement, so it's a right of way that is not part of anybody's parcel, it's just part of like the road network.
But we haven't been shoveling it or clearing it or anything, that was the complaint I heard.
Yes.
I
So-
didn't- I didn't know we had that.
Well, it's
For the
not
record.
yours, it's not yours.
Typically don't clear grass either.
Yeah,
So in order to keep that access drive centered in the right of way out to Sharon Drive, in order to keep our turning radii onto Sharon Drive, there's a guy wire, there's three utility poles that are directly on the northwest side, or the west side of the right of way. The closest utility pole has a guy wire that will be interfering in our turning radius. So
It's the last pole.
it's the last pole on the run. So we're talking with Eversource to get them to move the pole, or at least move the guy wire, if not move the pole.
So I'll be tracking that on a schedule.
Leave that until the school opens.
We won't need that until the school opens.
So
We'll
it'll
be
right
able to
within
keep
their
the,
schedule then.
yes, what's that?
It'll be right within their schedule.
That's right.
What's gonna happen first, the transformer on site or the utility pole being moved?
And the utility pole, only Eversource can move it, cause it's their pole, is that the?
Yep.
And they have to coordinate with all the other utilities that have
Cause
it.
they own the wires on the poles, okay.
So we
Yeah,
got Water
it'll
Frontier and
get a little
Comcast.
tricky trying to use it as a construction access entrance while that guy wire's there, so I'll be itching to have it done by December before we actually start phase two.
Only the guide wire needs to be moved, not
Only it
necessarily the pole?
It should all get
Oh,
out.
really?
Yeah.
You can't really move a guy wire without moving the pole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it seems
So-
scary.
I'm aiming for December.
Mhm.
I was trying to track that, keep that on schedule.
Unless you
See
do a
what
push
happens.
pole.
Nothing will happen.
Just don't wanna hit it, if we can help it.
No, right.
Yeah, I guess that's worse than yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna get clipped and then it's going.
That's
Yeah. And then the neighbors are gonna be
Then they'll
very
complain,
upset when
right.
there's no cable, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, let's not do that, okay.
Any new business or other items to discuss?
I don't know.
Yep.
Appropriate. So we only had 4 approve the minutes. It says, a committee member who misses a meeting can still vote to approve the minutes from a previous meeting. According to Robert's Rules of Order, a member's absence from a meeting does not prevent them from voting to approve or correct the minutes.
And I voted last week, cause we only had 5 people.
Well, you were on Zoom.
Yeah, but I did
Yeah.
vote.
Yes. Oh, yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
I came via Zoom,
So,
cause there were only
Say
4
4,
people.
we should really re-vote approval, so we have 5, minimum 5.
If anyone feels comfortable, read the minutes.
Table that
Or we
until
can table it till next meeting, so it gives these people a chance to review it.
I would still abstain because I didn't even read the minutes.
Zero.
Okay, so let's push off approval of the minutes till next meeting. Good catch. Anything else, or? Anyone want to entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:25 then?
What?
did good.
Justin, you got to go home.
Right, yeah.
Go get ice cream.
So moved. So moved. Any second? We have a
Broken
second.
wedges in the.
Okay. Chris, Dennis, for adjournment, yep. And we are adjourned, 7:25, great.
Did we vote?
All in
Do
favor?
we need to vote?
Oh,